Welcome, everybody, to another episode of On the Range Podcast with War HOGG Tactical and Kelley Defense. I am Mark Kelley, and as always, I have my buddy Rick Hogg with me. How's it going today, Rick?
Man, Mark, it's going great. Just want to thank the viewers, listeners out there for giving us your most precious commodity, your time to tune in, making us the top 3% of all podcasts globally. Guys, appreciate all your support. Please do us a favor. Whatever platform you're listening on, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, leave us a rating review. I don't care if it's a thumbs up emoji. And if you guys like what you're hearing, make sure you tell all your friends, and you can support the On the Range podcast by going to our Patreon page, patreon.com/On the Range podcast. Look at our different levels in there. But really for our top tier guys, you know, exclusive behind the scenes, you're going to get early access to the shows, to vlogs, training tips. And then we're doing a monthly Zoom call, and we just all sit together and chat. So just another way you guys can support. So appreciate everything you guys are doing out there.
Yeah, buddy. Wherever you're at, thank you for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by KillCliff. Go to killcliff.com, use the promo code OTR15, save yourself a boatload of cash on all their amazing products. And also, while you're at killcliff.com, check out the Cult Club. It's a rewards program. The more you talk about it, the more you earn. Great products. Love KillCliff. They support a lot of the stuff we do. Oh, and by the way, they also support the Navy SEAL Foundation. Today, Rick, we got an awesome episode. We got a friend of ours, retired detective Kurt Ballman of the First 48 fame. Man, what a great guy. He's an entertaining guy, recently retired. He did 30 years on the police department. Oh, and by the way, he's a military veteran, U.S. Army. And also, he spent 2 decades in the Major Crimes Homicide Unit in the city of Cincinnati. Just a great dude. Gets recognized all the time, a gentle giant, big time fan. So let's go ahead and bring on Kurt.
I'm old enough to remember the Wolfman Jack show. I mean, that was something you kind of stayed up and listened to.
It was like Saturday nights, wasn't it?
Yeah. And your mom would try to put you to bed early, and you'd sneak your little AM/FM transistor radio.
Yep.
Transistor. And listen to Wolfman Jack.
That's it, man.
Dude, now you talk about a face for radio. Wolfman Jack. I'll see if I can't bring a photo of Wolfman Jack up.
Theory of relativity, I guess.
Yeah. But
go ahead, gentlemen.
No, I was just saying, he was like what, on Saturday from like 7 p.m. to 11 or something silly. And I don't really remember if he was just playing kind of the hits or if he went back. I don't remember all what he did. I just remember the name. I don't really remember.
Yeah, he would play. He'd play rock, and then he'd usually howl at the end of the song. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot more theater back then in television and radio. There he is.
Oh, yeah, there's Wolfman Jack right there.
Oh yeah.
So
he made some TV appearances.
That's kind of making me want to shave my beard. Kind of go with that.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
You mean go with this here?
Yeah, go with the goatee, maybe the Van Dyke. I don't know.
But here's the question of the hour. Did you ever see what was it? Was it Phantom of the Opera, Kiss? Remember their TV show they did?
Oh, the
with the monsters where they were
oh god, that was so horrible.
It was awful, but
God that was
Gene Simmons. God, he knows how to make money. No, we all stood up and watched that. God, I was what was it called? God, it was
Phantom of the something.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't bring that up.
My mom made get rid of all my Kiss albums when somebody told her that Kiss stood for Knights in Satan's Service or something.
So,
Yeah, back then I had albums, 78s, I believe.
Yeah. Or if you play them backwards, it would give you some type of subliminal message.
Everything was subliminal. You go to the
You know.
drive-in back then, and they'd give you subliminal messages to go eat food.
Oh, Phantom of the Park.
The Phantom of the Park.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, because remember they go to that amusement park.
Yeah, I wonder if we can get some video on that. Let me see if I can bring up some video.
Oh, dude, it's gotta be.
Meets Phantom of the Park.
That's what it was. Kiss. So.
Yeah.
So.
Now we're going back old school.
I can't tell you what it was about. I know it was in a park, and
there's a Phantom in it.
Yeah, no, the Kiss was in it. So.
I think they played their instruments and shot lasers or something. It was like a total B-rated movie. Yeah, but it was one of those cult classics. Like, you've got to watch it.
And lasers were. If you had lasers in the 70s, you were the Chazelle. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But think about like when Star Wars came out, man.
The point to you.
Oh, here we go.
It's got to be Gene Simmons.
That is Gene.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that outfit, dude.
The demon.
Oh my gosh.
I just heard here they had to cancel a show because one of them has heart problems. It's not funny, but
Gene's clean. A pussycat.
I like the voiceover.
Dude.
Oh, dude. Oh man.
Now I'm going to YouTube that and watch it tonight.
Oh, dude, compared to what the other stuff they have going on there, you're not going to do much worse, man. Phantom meets the Phantom of the Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I was so used to B movies.
Well, getting back. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I believe that was like on one of the regular networks. Like that got broadcasted on TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
God. I don't know which one broadcasted it. It was like, come on, man, step up your game.
Well, you have to believe that they knew it was awful. That you had there's no way they could have thought that was good.
I think they were just pulling.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say my youngest son is like a huge fan of Rotten Tomatoes and B movies, and he's like a connoisseur of that. He will, and he's making my grandson watch it. So good Lord.
Yeah.
that kid will have no taste.
I think with that one, it was just a matter of, it had Kiss in it, so it doesn't matter.
And that's exactly how we all felt about Kiss.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so ahead of their time and still doing it, man. Still getting after it. They have to be at least 70, right?
No. Like I said, a couple of their concerts were going to be here. I'm down in North Carolina right now, and they had to cancel because one of them has heart problems or something. So it's waiting for us all, I guess.
Yeah,
hard rock and roll life, man. I mean,
yeah, you can't be getting after it backstage for 50 years and expect not to have a couple of issues.
Well, Gene Simmons had some pretty clean life, other than getting after it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
God.
But if that's going to kill you,
well, that's true, man.
Chain me to the wall.
But I mean, Rolling Stones are still going, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're injecting those guys with, man, but they are still getting after it.
Dude, freaking Mick Jagger's looked like 10 miles of rough road for the last freaking 5 decades, man. He hasn't looked any better.
No.
Yeah, well, we all think it's the years, but it's the mileage. That'll wear you out quicker than anything else.
100% it is.
Yeah, they definitely know how to do it though, man. So anyway, here we are, guys. We are with my friend Kurt Ballman, retired homicide detective. Did 30 years?
30 years.
30 years on the job. Did nearly 2 decades in the homicide office, where the major crimes and homicides and all that stuff, death investigations. And Kurt and I go way back. We go back a long time, and you are best known outside of the department for your appearances on the First 48. Now, most people might ride that out, but you truly get recognized on a weekly basis. There's absolutely no question. whatever you had, it is it. You got it. Because everybody loves you, and we're just glad you could. You're also a military veteran,
Yes,
and
sir.
Army veteran, and really appreciate your service, and really appreciate you being here today, Kurt. So, thanks so much for being here, pal.
I appreciate you guys just let me come on with you. Like I said, well, I'm looking at myself reverse, and I'm combing my hair against my foot.
You would expect
less shingles on the roof, so I'm trying to cover some stuff up. But no, my career was a heck of a cool ride. I got very few complaints. Wasn't that I didn't get in trouble a time or two, but who can do 3 years?
Yeah.
Not get in trouble. But other than that, I wish I had 2 more years to go. I love the job.
Yeah.
So Kurt, how did all that come about?
They had been on for a while and and they just moved city to city. We had been through the riots in 2001, and our department had taken a big hit, and our homicide unit had taken a big hit at that time. And the police chief at the time thought it would be a good idea, a good way to showcase the department and the work that we do. So he kind of mandatorily volunteered us to be on the show. And I actually was one of the guys that was holding out. I didn't want to be on the show. The only other one was a criminalist. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name or.
I mean, if they're still active and you're not sure, we just, it's good enough just to say,
that's fine.
Well, he got a pass, but I didn't. We were all kind of, a lot of people were ready to jump on board, but like I said earlier, I got a face for radio, so I didn't know how that was going to go.
Yeah.
But I ended up being one of the more popular from Cincinnati, and another officer who's retired now, Jenny Luke, was also. So we kind of became like the face of Cincinnati Homicide from that show, I think.
Now, is that something that the First 48 production guys would have realized and then, showcased you more often? Or is it just how the cases land?
They did pick a couple guys they thought were going to be the standout, because every city detectives, and I'd never been on television or anything other than maybe doing a Crime Stoppers interview with a reporter or something, and on a case. But it was really kind of roll the dice how many shows you got. If the camera crew was there and working, and it was your time up, we rotate the homicides through each group. So I ended up having I think I had 6 or 7 appearances.
Wow.
Maybe more and it was just a matter of those. The camera crew was there, and I was catching the case, or me and my partner were catching the case at the time, or whoever I was partnered up with. So
yeah.
But as you know, Mark, I'm a bit of a character anyway. So
yeah. Well, everybody can see that, but it seems like the episodes with you on there are on all the time.
Yeah.
So you seeing any royalties from that?
No, unfortunately.
Savages.
Yeah.
Wow. Cincinnati did not take care of you on that one.
Welcome to the department. I think they were in town for about 2 years, and they ended up getting about 3 years worth of material from Cincinnati. They were actually filming for 2 years. It was actually my homicide case that got them kicked out. So
really?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It was the one down on Eastern Avenue where the guy was killed behind the airport bar. That turned out to be a death penalty case, and everything was cool with them filming us up until then, and of course, it's 6-7 months after a homicide before the defense attorneys in that case rightfully wanted all the raw footage from the production company, and all they would have gotten is me cussing and swearing a lot.
Right.
Raw footage. But we had no problem with it as far as anything we did. I mean, we were, there was no monkey business, no whatever people think, cops or detectives do to be tricky or slicky. It was, like I said, all they would have got me is me cussing a lot. But they actually had to come in at one point and have one of the sergeants come talk to me and said, "Can you tone your language down a little bit? You're losing a lot of good material."
But they can't just beep it out.
Yeah. I don't. I think they want to have a more PG kind of show. So I'm more R-rated, I guess.
Yeah.
But the production company said we're not, and they're out of New York City, and they said we're not going to give you the raw footage or the unedited. And police chief at that time said, "Look, the agreement we had with you is you give full cooperation in anything we asked you to do." And they said, "Yeah, well, we really don't, give raw footage up." And the prosecutor and some of the junior prosecutors went to New York City to try to get this, and they explained to them that after they make the film, they throw away all the edited bits and pieces. But our police chief was kind of still upset about it and said, "Get out, gotta go." So he gave them like 2 days to get out. So they were kind of kicked out of Cincinnati at that point. So, but they had, like I said, they filmed enough shows in the following months to have a few more Cincinnati shows after that. But it was that case that ended the run at First 48 in Cincinnati.
Now, how much of those guys was there a bunch of backside stuff like stand here or do this or say that, or was it pretty?
Yeah, I, when they first got there, there was some acting in that because a lot of it. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of stuff. These guys would come in and they'd sit with us all day long, and they'd be sitting at. They had some desks set up. They'd be sitting with their feet up, and we'd be doing what we're doing. I'm typing on the computer, and or whatever, typing whatever report, maybe shopping for shoes from Amazon. I don't know. And a phone would ring, and
there you are, buddy. I got you.
All right, the internet at the house went down. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You were just saying that. Now I couldn't tell if it was the cops that had their feet up, or was it the production crew that had their feet up?
Never had my feet up. No.
Yeah, right.
No, it was the production guys, the camera guys that were there to film us. They'd be sitting over there playing on their cell phones or looking for whatever on Amazon or eBay on their laptops, and something would kick off, and usually I'd like slap my partner or whatever, and then we put it on speaker so he could hear, and they'd hear what was going on, and then they would, you guys go, there we go, and then they missed part of, they get their camera and push buttons and come over and film me at your desk or whatever, and then
oh, we missed that. We got to go back and redo that, right?
So then I would pick up the phone and Detective Ballman. Yeah.
You're a natural, man. You're a natural.
You might want to notice next time you watch it, if you get to watch it, there might be some costume changes in there. Wearing a different tie, because it might be. Sometimes they came back like 3 months later and were like, "There was this scene that we shot with you, and we'd like to shoot it over. You had on your brown jacket and a white shirt."
And you come in with your black jacket and a yellow shirt. I'd mess with them. Oh man, what was it like though? You kind of painted a little bit of a picture though. What was it like with the legality of the whole mess of having a film crew? I know that, you just said there's some issues with court and stuff later down the road, but I'm talking about, would people be willing to talk because there's a camera there? I would think that they would.
Amazingly, they had to get everybody that showed their face. They had to get consent, and they always carried a little form. They were pretty good salesmen. I'll give them. They might have been able to sit in an interview room and sell 25 to life. But Mark, that's for me and Kim Della. That's what I said. I'm the best used car salesman on the lot.
Yeah,
I'm selling 18 to life.
But that's the thing, right? So think about it, man. People, hey, sign this paper. We'll make you famous. You'll be on TV. People are going to do it, man. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like,
And you're right. A lot of them did. Some of them
Yeah.
didn't. They usually ended out with the little bubblegum
Yep.
blur on their
Blur-
face or whatever.
blur their
And
face.
their voices
Yep.
frogged out. Whatever they do to muffle the voices.
Well, that's just the editor, or whoever's, editing the footage. He's sitting there cussing, going, "Really?" Because that's just more work for him. So
Yeah.
you couldn't have sold him on being famous. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Help us out with that.
Yeah.
Speaking about muffling the voices, Rick and I've been trying to muffle the voices for years now. They haven't stopped.
I just joined the chorus, Mark.
Oh man.
Oh man. So what you drinking there? What you got there, Kurt?
You can only get this right now in Tennessee. It's one of my favorites. I was thinking about giving
Oh
this.
yes, yeah. Didn't I get you?
You got me a good rye, but this is King's Family Distillery. It's a small little thing down in. We found it. My wife and I vacationed. Oh, this is really bothering me.
Wear a hat.
Yeah, bring me a hat.
The talent needs a hat. Yeah,
that's it.
We rented a cabin like last year, a couple of years ago, and this was right at the. If you ever rented a cabin, and I'm sure you have, I know you have.
Yeah,
I got to hear all your vacation stories.
Yeah.
But it was at the top of one of these mountains. We had to come down this, whirly twirly. I actually videotaped it as my wife drove down it, so it was like a Kings Island ride with her driving at least.
Yeah.
And this distillery was down at the only restaurant. They had a little Italian pizzeria. The guy didn't even have an Italian. It was like Randy's Pizza. But right next door to it was this King's Distillery. And I always like to buy from Randy. Like getting rich Chinese. But
best in town.
Best in town, yeah.
So this was right next door, and me being the alcoholic I am, or I'm not really an alcoholic. I can stop drinking at any time and start whenever I want. But I went in there, and my wife doesn't drink whiskey, but they had this blackberry whiskey, and I bought it just to try it. And I'm not usually a guy that likes sweet drinks or fruity drinks or anything like that, but this was really good.
Yeah.
So then I went back like the next day and got their rye because I'm a huge rye drinker, and that was really, really good.
Yeah.
The first sip of it takes your nose hairs down, but other than that, once you get that underway, it's delicious.
Get past that, good to go.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
So I got a bottle for you next time when I'm back in Cincinnati, about a month.
So, in police work, the major crimes, the ability for a department to police itself, the internal, and the recruiting and the hiring and the other practices in that field is really where I think a lot of your legitimacy comes from the police department to the community. So having said that, being in major crimes as long as you were, 2 decades, and on this homicide side of the house, I made a couple trips up there. That's a heavy toll, because you really do feel a responsibility for the victim and for their family. How did you handle that? Because for all, due appearances, you do appear that you handle that very, very well.
I'm still handling it, Mark. I had I have what my wife and I refer to as cop dreams. And you may have them or not, when you're in patrol, you have the dream that you're getting into a shootout and the bullet spits out of your gun. And, I think we've all had that dream. Like you go to pull the trigger and the bullet flies out and lands about 4 feet in front of you, or stuff like that. Or you pull the trigger and the gun doesn't go off. I think all police officers at some time have that. But in homicide, I woke up just a couple nights ago. I was back in the homicide unit, and I was taking down the office just like I was when I was retiring, and I was going through a lot of I ended up going into like files and stuff, and all of a sudden I got this anxiety that these cases weren't solved. I mean, you have such a dedication, and most people in that unit, and people don't realize it, have that kind of commitment and that kind of
tenacity, and something about Cincinnati. We're a little different. I think we're a little bit different as a police department. I would say Cincinnati, for whatever faults we found as veteran officers over the years with it, I think Cincinnati does a wonderful job in its recruiting and picks really good people. And most of the people I worked with, not all, but most of the people I worked with throughout my career I've always thought were just amazing human beings. And particularly in the homicide unit, the level of dedication and self-sacrifice up there is what most people, and you're aware of it from one side, what you put into it, we burn ourselves up there. And I had this nightmare, and it got so desperate, I shot up out of bed. My wife was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, and she thought maybe I was seeing monsters or something. It was just this anxiety that I had all these cases that I hadn't closed, and that's what I was dreaming about. So I still have a little bit about it, but I would say the people up there, the commitment up there is tremendous. I mean, sometimes people are up for 24, 30, 36 hours straight. I think my longest was 42 hours straight.
Yeah.
So and you work till you're going to drop. And then you go home and hope you don't wreck your car and get about 4 or 5, 6 hours sleep so you can jump back into fresh clothes and get back at it.
Yeah.
So the work up there is amazing. The people that work there are amazing people. That we call it CIS, but the major crimes unit in Cincinnati, and I was always very proud to be one of them.
Yeah.
So, and I think I defrayed a lot of it with humor, and just I always tried to have fun, because it is a very dark, and it can eat you up. I've seen several people in my career up there 20 years snap the rubber bands mentally.
Yeah,
it can be overwhelming. The biggest stressor I always found was court. I mean, everybody thinks the game's over with the arrest, and
that's the beginning.
My dumb ass, can't shut my mouth, once said that to a command officer. Because all they care about is, how many arrests we got on the board versus how many cases we got open. And my stupid remark was, well, the arrest ain't over for us. It ain't over till we get a conviction in court.
Yeah.
And so the stress doesn't end. And I was in the lieutenant's office getting my backside caved in on that.
It's true. It's true.
So, but that, like I said, that's, for me, the biggest stressor was always court, winning the case in court.
Yeah.
So
was it the fact they're just worried about, because I mean, some of these defense attorneys, man, they'll in essence put words in your mouth or twist your stories around or do whatever, look for that one kind of little hole. Is that kind of what was worried?
Yeah. When I started, things were different. And I started in the homicide unit back in 2002, and there was a professionalism even in the courthouse. They would go after you, and if there was a weakness, something they found, and you expected. I mean, when you're getting ready, and that's the other thing. I was a guy that hated to study in high school and college, and I ended up at the job where I had to study my ass off all the time because I had to take the stand. We would have these things called the homicide book, which was a big, thick brown folder with everything we'd done in it, and I'd have to know that backwards and forwards, because when I took the stand, you don't want to take any kind of paperwork with you up to the stand, because anything you got in your hand, the defense attorney can say, let me see what you're looking at. So anyway, so you had to kind of memorize the case, and so before a court, I'd always want to know if we're going to court. I'd be calling prosecutors up, like, are we going to court for sure, or are they going to continue the case or whatever? Hey John, what's going on, brother?
All right.
That's my buddy John.
All right.
So he's a musician, hell of a rock musician.
Awesome.
What's he play?
Have you ever heard of Signs? I'll give him a plug. Have you ever heard of the band Signs of Life? It's a Pink Floyd cover band.
No.
That's his crew.
All right. If we'll get a link or something, get some of their social on there. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong there? I hope not.
No, heck no. That's good, man.
I'm always trying to give a shout out to my boys.
Oh, heck yeah.
No, that's good.
So I would, if I knew the court case was going to go this time, I would take the book home with me, and I wasn't being paid, and I know a lot of homicide detectives did that. Sitting at my dining room table, studying. So when I took the stand, I could just, answer off of memory or experience or whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, the defense attorney's up there to trip you up and find a hole and exploit it. So, but to be fair, that's his job. So
yeah,
sure.
The truth is, most of these defense attorneys believe their clients are guilty of sin, but their job is to defend him and fight for him and do the best job they can. But most people wouldn't. Hopefully, there's not a lot of defense attorneys watching this because they're gonna start unfriending people on Facebook and.
Well,
but I would go have lunch. I would go have lunch over on Main Street and sit down and have lunch with defense attorneys. I mean, people think that we hate each other, and it's a professional thing. But the last few years, some of the defense attorneys have gotten very nasty, and then they start accusing officers of being, wrongdoing, stuff like that. And my answer was always, the victim wasn't any kid or kin of mine.
Yeah.
And your client, and I've even said that once or twice on the stand. The victim wasn't kid or kin of mine, and your client isn't kid or kin of mine. And I'm here to perform do my duty and perform a function. So that usually took the wind out of their sail when they started Detective Ballman. You just crushed this guy's soul because you needed to solve your case.
Yeah.
So, the nightmare to me would be putting an innocent man in prison. I mean, I would feel horrible if, that would have ever happened. And it has a couple times, but it's not that often. But
yeah,
every time I think I went to court, the guy that was sitting in the defendant's table was the guy who did it. So, and I was there to seek justice for his family and his loved ones.
Yeah.
Now, were you guys still working cases as well, or would they give you a pause point when it came to going to court? How did all that kind of transpire for you
Never
guys?
stopped. It just, you could be ready for court, and if it was you're at the top of the list, you were going out.
Wow.
So time management was pretty critical in our unit, and sometimes you just, you had to bite the bullet, and but most of my partners, we developed a habit with how we did that is how we managed it within the unit is we would trade off on being leads on the case. So usually you went out and in whatever time in the homicide unit was, sometimes you went out as a 4-man group, and then you would decide whose case it was. A 4-man group being 2 pairs of partners, and you do, because the whole theory of the first 48 is in the first 48 hours, 2 days of a homicide. I remember when I went to homicide school back in 2003, January 2003, that was one of the first lessons is you get your greatest amount of information, your greatest amount of evidence in the first 2 days. And if you don't have what I call a hook in the case, if you don't realize who your suspect is, it doesn't mean you have to get him in the first 2 days, but if you don't develop who your suspect is in the first 2 days, that thing can stretch out to 3 months, 6 months, year, 2 years before you can solve it. And that's the theory of the first 48, thus the show's name. It was, if you get the information within the first 2 days of who your suspect is, your chances of solving the case are greatly enhanced. And if you don't get it in the first 2 days, it's cut. The fact that you're going to cut the case is cut in half by 50%. So, but what I would do with my partner is I would say, on this case, I'm going to be the lead, which meant I'm going to be the guy that's writing the summary, making the book, and go into court. And then my partner would be the next homicide we got as a partners would be he or she would be the lead. He or she would be doing the book, the summary, and going to court. So that's kind of how we handled it. And if we got a homicide, and I don't know, I was partnered with Mark's wife, Detective Kim Kelley, and this is how we performed the last couple 2-3 years of our career. So so if we got a homicide and I was up for court, Kim would take the bulk of the work on that and let me kind of concentrate on the court case and vice versa. So it sounds complicated, but that's, those are kind of some of the strategies you had.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. And another thing too, is a lot of people don't realize that it's not just a homicide, something ruled a homicide. There's patient abuse. There's accidental deaths. There's job related deaths. There's, suicides. There's all kinds of other death investigations that the major crimes unit, homicide unit, where you worked, is responsible as well. So there's plenty of work to go around that doesn't just involve the fact that you have to prosecute.
Yeah. Actually, I always thought, to be technically correct, we should call ourselves the Death Investigation Unit, but
yeah,
it's just not sexy. Homicide is sexy. But yeah, we did suicides, baby deaths, elder deaths, bodies in the river, undetermineds, unknowns, and work. One of my weirdest cases was a guy that was working at the Coca-Cola plant over in District 2 on Red Bank Road. Went into the generator room and had a metal belt buckle on, and he opened up one of the generators and it arced. And
oh boy,
he had literally a black lightning bolt burned across his chest, and it's one of the cases I remember because it's I'd never seen anything like it. So
yeah.
But
I know we touched on it, but like I said, I know that you've handled this well, because it is a big burden that we ask a lot of our professionals in the major crimes all across this country to do. And you said it can break people. It can absolutely break people. And
Sure.
one of the things that Rick and I talk about all the time is, there's a lot of other things going on that people don't seem to pay attention to. And Rick and I are like, no, that's not true, because there's a cop right now talking to the family, investigating. No matter what resistance they're getting, there's someone who cares about them, and it's usually a cop, despite
You're right.
all this trash that you guys have to put up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's any cop, but again, police are amazing people. I've had a homicide where the family didn't seem to care that their son was killed, and I remember the family lived over in Edsard Charles, and I remember going to notify him, and they'd already known the son was murdered. And you're talking to the family, and you don't get the reaction. And I'm like, am I the only guy in the room that cares that this happened?
Yeah.
I come to find out that the kid was in the drug game, as most of our homicide victims are, and he was set up on a hit, and the guy that hit him ended up going to the family and paying mom and dad off, and the only one that cared was me and the younger brother. But it's a strange job, but you work that case the same as any other. You got a dead person, and I got to say that mom or dad probably did care, but
Sure.
they were paid to keep their mouth shut. And I mean, it's a strange world we live in, but you're right, Mark. Most of the time, it's just amazing. I think cops take this job, and we have that kind of stone hard exterior that people seem to see, but they don't know underneath the humanity that's there, and the level of concern and care for your fellow man. And we develop tombstone humor and a lot of psychological little tricks we do to get through the game. But always when, when the flag goes up the pole or the trumpet blasts, we respond and do what we're supposed to do. And again, like I said, it's amazing to work a job and be in a career with people that are like that. And I've always appreciated my brother and sister officers around me for having that level of dedication.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing to be a part of, and an amazing thing to be away from.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to be a civilian yet, Mark.
Well, so here's one for you, Kurt. Right, and I'll just ask you this.
Go ahead, sir.
Because you find it with a lot of the military guys as well, where their identity is tied to that former job or position that they had. And now when it's time to transition to the civilian sector, they don't know what they're going to do. And I just think, whether it's first responders, military, whatever, there's got to be programs in there just to kind of give guys a heads up. Hey, whatever your certain retirement window is, to go, hey guys, you're getting ready to retire. Whether you're sergeant so-and-so, detective so-and-so, it doesn't matter. You've got to start thinking about, hey, what's the next chapter of your life? And I don't know if you guys, get that in the law enforcement side, but I know for like the military, hey man, here's how you write a resume. Give us your stuff back and then have a good life. And that's, no one ever talks or addresses that identity.
I went through it when I ETS from the service. I wanted to be career military, and then my ex-wife, my then wife, I had a hell of a re-up package. I was kind of being guaranteed my next rank, a year stabilization on the post we were at, a $20,000 re-up bonus. I was really happy with it. The kicker is after my year of stabilization, I was going to have to do a hardship tour, which probably would have put me in Korea or somewhere in Johnson Island or a nuke site in Germany or something. And my then wife was all happy to hear this until she heard the hardship part. And then she was like, you got to go. So when I was ETSing, I remember I was going around the post, meeting with all the different facilities on post and having them check me out and sign me out or whatever, that I stopped by the Army Family Rec Center. And at one point I was there, and I remember the lady going, Sergeant Ballman, I hope you have an easy time transitioning back into being a civilian. And I remember looking at her going, I don't remember what it's like to be a civilian. I didn't.
Yeah.
I came back home. I was staying at my parents' house for a couple months till we found a house. And I got a job right away with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, and was getting ready to go to their Sheriff's Academy. But I remember for about 6 months, I was like, Jesus Christ, civilians are idiots. I mean, they're screwed up. How does this world function? I remember just being angry for like 6 months, and it took me. And I kind of had a little bit of the same thing when I was leaving the job. But from that experience, I had the smarts to tell my wife, if I'm an ass for like the next 3 months,
yep. Here's why.
Yeah. Please
give me a
just
little
be
bit
patient.
of slack.
I love you. Give me a little slack. I'm missing my boys. I'm missing being part of the crew.
Yeah.
So, but I get it, and I went through a little bit of that leaving the department, because that's a big part of your identity and your life.
Yeah.
So just Mark, when you get ready to retire, I'm just letting you know that's there, and I'm here for you, buddy.
Thanks, pal.
Me and this.
You and the Kings.
Yes.
You and the Kings.
So,
well, brother, I really appreciate you doing this, and you can tell what everybody thinks about you. It was a big time loss for the department and for the first 48 when you weren't on it anymore. You're a gentle giant.
Thank you.
You are definitely a public servant and one of the most likable people that anybody would ever meet. And I really appreciate you doing this today. And thank you so much for your service, pal.
I thank you, Mark. That's my pleasure. And I'm here if you need me.
Yeah. So
thanks, Kurt. Appreciate it. Thanks for all your service, man. And man, both between, military side and then people of Cincinnati, definitely a debt of gratitude. So thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Rick. Pleasure meeting you, sir.
All right.
If we call this meeting, I don't know.
Well, nowadays it's called meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish the good old days were back where I could shake your hands.
Yeah.
I hear you.